Welcome back, boys and some girls. I have not had this much fun with a demo for a very long time. So far, right at this moment when we are speaking, I have 25.6 hours on this game, on this demo. It's not even a game yet. There's barely any options in the game. I did not have this much fun for a very long time. And after I played, I think it was for about 170 something days in the game, maybe closer to 200. I'm not 100% sure like how many days. I'll just show you on the screen. I want to share my experience with you. I want to show you and explain to you a little bit more about what I found out while actually playing this game. So there's going to be points I'm going to be just showing you and telling you, but it's not going to be in any order. It's not going to be this one is more important, the other one is more important. It's just things I noticed and I want to share with you, and you might actually find interesting and useful in your Let's Plays. So let's start this list with how heat actually works in the game. Now, I don't know if you actually reach the winter season, but when you reach it, there's going to be cold everywhere. And cold simply affects two things. Number one, it affects the speed at which your rats actually work. And the other effect is at the end of the day, you're gonna get minus points if they were too cold for the entirety of the day. Now, what you can technically do, and I recommend you do, is just heat their houses. Just make sure the houses have heat and they're not cold. Yes, this means when they go to work, they will produce less resources than usual, which you need to compensate by actually making more food than you need, by actually making more wood than you need, a whole bunch of things more than you need. And just heat their houses. They're going to be hot enough for the rest of the day, so when they come home in the evening and their home is still warm, they can regain all the heat back up again. I don't recommend you heat all over the map because it's going to create a ton of pollution and then they're going to complain and blah 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 blah. Now, this leads me exactly to my next point, and it's about pollution. You cannot escape it, don't even try. The only thing you can do is to try to counter it with other things, like food, good food. If you give them good food, you will get pluses. If you beautify the place, you will get pluses. Everything is up to a certain point, so I'm not sure about the math, but you can only get a minus or a positive, let's say minus from pollution or positive from food, for a certain amount of times a day. For example, if somebody goes by a fire, they're gonna take, I don't know, a minus 3 times a day, right? Per one person, like 3 times a day. But if they go next to, let's do with beauty, because beauty is easier, like some nice bush or some sign, he sees the sign, he's gonna get a plus for, let's say, 3 times a day. I don't know exactly the numbers, but that's the logic behind it. So you can counter it with positive things. Next one is going to be just a very quick keybind that if you press C, you can actually copy the building your mouse is actually touching. Very useful. Distance matters a whole lot because everything is timed. You get, I think, like 3 minutes of daytime and then 2 minutes of evening. I'm not, like, again, not 100% sure of the math, but you get more day than night, but you still have very timed sections. You need to know what you're doing with this time. So you gotta make everything closer and closer and closer. I know you maybe want to build like a giant farm and landscape and castle over the horizon. It's not this kind of game. It's just maybe later on when you get into endgame and you can counteract all the minuses with people not reaching home and not eating and not showering. When you can do that maybe later on, yeah, sure, go ahead. But what I recommend building is favelas. Just cram everything together as close as you can. Build in stacks. You can build higher up buildings on top of buildings, and it will just make your life 10 times easier. Regarding money, another thing that's going to be very annoying and will actually cause you quite a bit of pain throughout your playthrough, both from the pirates and from the annoying cats that keep taxing you and taxing you and taxing you. My recommendation, especially when you start out, is just play slow. Just play slow and know that eventually you're going to lose. There is barely any chance you're not going to lose on your first play. Eventually you can min-max everything and realize what you're doing and just produce enough stuff so when the taxman comes, you're prepared. But it's not gonna happen on your first or second quick let's plays, at least from the demo. A cool thing that's going to save you a whole bunch of time is when you're mining, let's say you want to mine 10 blocks up, 5 blocks up, 5 blocks down. Don't build any scaffolding inside. The rats are already building their own thing. Let's say, like me, you want to build a house inside the mountain. So you mine one level of rocks, you put a house, and then you want to put another house on top of it. Then you come and you try to mine the other layer, but it doesn't work. They just won't go to it. It's because the house is in the way. So make sure you have the entire place you need, and only then actually start and put the houses in. Next, let's talk a little bit about logistics. There's so much more to it, and I'm not gonna point everything in here because I'm gonna make tons of guides about this game. I already know this because this game is so much fun for me. I'm gonna play the moment the early access drops. Depends if I have to go to work, so don't catch me on the word. But there is so many things you can actually do that you can block yourself, or you can actually make things smarter. Because for example, the building that makes fuel that is needed at the smoker will only create as much as the building you set it to needs. Same as satisfactory. If you have an output that is going to be full, all the buildings in the chain will eventually stop because the first one before them is clogged, and then you go one machine back and it's also clogged, and it's also clogged. So over time everything can stop if you just make everything like a chain, from the fisherman to the guy that makes the smokers, and then the fuel, and then the cafe and everything. Just leave everything to be on the nearest warehouse. It should be the best. If you really want it, you can do the math. The smoker is maybe like 3 smokers for every 1 fuel maker, but it's not 100%. You can technically use it for 4, and there's going to be like a downtime of a few seconds in between each one. So you can make it like 4 to 1 if you really wanted to. But it's all trial and error, and there's a whole bunch more that we can actually do with the game, but I'm gonna wait for the game to fully come out and for me to probably sink like 50 hours more to say anything. Very simple obvious thing is the whiskers have guilds. If you check every whisker that you get, every rat that you get, they have a little symbol around them. It might be the pickaxe, it might be like the cog, and it might be the wheat thing. Each one of them belong to a building, and if you put them in the correct building, they will actually get a bonus for performance. So if you really need something, then yeah, just shove them anywhere you need them. But eventually it might be better to start shuffling all your workers, and I hope they make some kind of a button eventually that's gonna shuffle all the workers and make them go into buildings that more fits them. Let's talk a little bit about nutrients. When I talked about gold, if you started playing the demo, you know that what the game tells you is, hey, go mine copper, go mine coal, maybe some wood, and send it to us as taxes. Sounds nice, but if you play more and more and more, eventually you run out of copper. Copper doesn't regenerate. It's not infinite, it's finite. So what is infinite is crops. You can constantly grow crops and try to sell them. Now you can do something like a ton of wood, like a metric ton of wood, and then sell them only wood. Or what I love to do is you can just do cotton. You can just grow a bunch of cotton, and then you can send it, because each one is worth like 21 coins, which is quite a bit. It's on par with copper. So you can just do that, sell them, and that's it. But there is a problem. There is nutrients in the ground, and after maybe 5 cycles of growth and harvest, the ground will have no more nutrients in it. It takes like about a year, something like that, a bit less, maybe like half a year, in-game years, yes. And then no more nutrients in the ground. It's gonna be maybe producing 1 or 2 in total. It's gonna be absolutely nothing and not worth it. So what then you have to do is scrap the farm, delete everything, give it 2 or 3 years in-game, and eventually everything is gonna come back to normal. You can just plant everything again, and all it's gonna be good. So you need to cycle your farms. That's also another thing in the game, because we still don't have fertilizer. In the game fully, we're gonna have fertilizer, and you can fertilize the ground, and you won't have to move things constantly, but then you need more mining, and the mining to make the fertilizer is not like poop or anything. You need to mine something called like potash, something like that. I don't remember exactly how to pronounce it, but you need to mine that, and then you need to take the mining and you need to crush it down, and then you use the powder to actually use as fertilizer. Doesn't make sense to me, but that's how the game does it. And even then, you're eventually gonna run out of potas, right? So it's not infinite. Again, it's finite. So my recommendation is to just get used to the fact that you're gonna have to cycle your farms. My last tiny tip is going to be, don't be afraid to uncheck certain options inside your buildings if you need to focus on something different. Let's say you reach more of an end game, mid game, you reach later in the game, you're not in the early phase anymore, you have some cooked food. And if you notice at the end of every day, you get bonuses depending on the kind of food they eat. So if they eat better kind of food, they gain more bonuses and they give you more bonuses, quite significantly, by the way. So if you actually want them to eat this kind of food and you have that kind of food in your production, they simply are not eating it, you need to go to your cafes, for example, and uncheck raw foods. So they will only give them cooked, smoked, better kind of food, and you will get better kind of positives at the very end. So small things like that can change a whole bunch of things in your life. It can solve a whole bunch of maybe logistical bottlenecks that you have. You don't realize why things are coming to the cafe, or why everything is just full of food but your people are still hungry and not reaching to them. There's a whole bunch of things you can do, but that's going to be it for me. I can obviously tell you a whole bunch of things more about the venting system I made. I might throw like an image or a video now of it. It's pretty cool. You just put like tunnels way beneath where your people live. You just plug some holes that reach all the way to the surface. You put all the fire down below, and the heat reach all the way to the top, but you don't get the pollution debuff. So that's pretty cool and very creative things. But there's a whole bunch of things I want to actually tell you, but I will save it until I actually play the full game. I'll probably play this game a whole bunch more, to be honest with you, the demo. I don't know why, but I'm enjoying this so much. I've never been so active also in their Discord, but I mean I have now. I have never been so active in the game's Discord before. It's just so much fun to me. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, thank you for doing. Let me know how I can improve. As I keep saying, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.